According to a certain Western novel and according to family tradition, it's still 1 in 500 people. There are people who believe that among us, there are still undetected criminals. What do those who have committed such crimes eat? They walk through the world with a straight face, waving their hands boldly. Mr. Ryo made an irreparable mistake in the past. Is that true? If you're watching this video now, many of you may have already spoken about your past. It could develop into a criminal case. You may not have made such a big mistake, but every day incidents happen in this world. There are also people who have caused criminal cases in the past and then gone on to build their lives afterwards. The story may change a little, but an incident is clearly an incident.
It becomes an incident for the first time.
Many incidents have gone unnoticed, undiscovered, or unprosecuted in the city's corners. The perpetrators of these past incidents have not been held accountable. Many criminals have committed crimes that remain unknown. We'll focus on cases where the perpetrator is known, but the case is still unsolved. We will present those cases, focusing on the people involved. Do you remember this case from the past? The Hachioji family murder case in Aomori Prefecture. On June 28, 2007 at 10:55 AM, it happened. In an apartment in Kamikumi Town, Hachinohe City, Aomori Prefecture, in room 101, Akihito Sawada, a 43-year-old company employee, found his wife and 3 children lying in pools of blood, dead. Mr. Sawada's relatives discovered the scene and reported it to the Hachinohe police. The person who had died was Mr. Sawada's wife. The 4 people, the eldest son, the second son and the third son, were found in the children's room and the living room. 3 of them, except for the second son, had marks indicating they had been strangled, while only the second son had a cut wound on his neck, but no other external injuries were found. The Hachinohe police swiftly concluded it was a murder case and are investigating. The estimated time of death for all victims was around or after 8:20 PM on June 27. The 4 were believed to have been killed on the 28th, 10th and 8th due to their unknown whereabouts during that time. There is one thing in this case that I can't understand. Something about it bothers me. When the 4 were found, Mr. Sawada, the head of the household, was missing. The room contained a significant amount of blood from a man, along with his clothes and fingerprints. Police considered him a key person of interest and began searching for him after a non-family bladed weapon was found at the crime scene, immediately following the incident's discovery. Around 4:20 PM, 5 hours later, the case abruptly ended when the police located him 40 kilometers from the scene. Police found what they believed to be the suspect's car in a parking lot at Kendo-riku Station in Aomori Prefecture. When they approached to question him about his actions, they began interrogating him. Then he knocked on the car window. At that moment, the car suddenly backed up and crashed into the patrol car behind it. Immediately, the man in the driver's seat thrust a cutter knife into his own neck. The police officer panicked and tried to break the window, but the man stabbed his neck with the cutter, started bleeding, and then, still in that state, tried to accelerate toward the cliff. The car then rolled over and fell down. The man in the driver's seat was immediately rescued and transported, but later his death was confirmed at the hospital. It was then determined that this man was indeed Mr. Sawada himself. Neighbors of the Sawada family were shocked and speechless by the incident, as they had always perceived them as a harmonious and respectable family without any visible issues. He was the vice president of the elementary school's parent-teacher association, had a gentle personality and seemed like a calm and peaceful father. He and his wife were known as bright and kind people who raised their 2 children with care. They often cheerfully greeted friends and neighbors, and their family seemed happy and harmonious with no apparent signs of trouble. They seemed like the ideal family. A seemingly happy family met a tragic end, leaving everyone wondering how it could have happened. He was suspected of being the culprit with a big secret hidden in his past. Let's go into the details of the case and how it unfolded. On Wednesday, June 27, 2007, the suspect, Hirota, took a paid leave of absence. He went out with his wife in the morning. His wife, who also worked and was a pharmacist, was also off work that day because it was a paid holiday. After finishing the household deposit at the bank, she was doing housework. Around 3 PM, the 3 children finished school early and returned home together. He also picked them up by car and brought them home. Around 6 PM, the family gathered and had dinner together. After dinner, within just 2 or 3 hours, the wife and the 3 children were found murdered. The next morning, he was reported missing from work because he was absent without notice. Before 11 AM, relatives found the 4 Sawada family members dead in their home. Based on their activities the day before, nothing seemed unusual about the family. It appeared that the family, except for one member, had been suddenly murdered with no signs of anything out of the ordinary. When they tried to trace his whereabouts, they discovered he had gone through unexpected experiences and crossed over several days. On June 28th, around 2 AM in Hachioji City, an attempted robbery occurred at a pachinko parlor. A man with his face covered by a mask and a hat threatened an employee with a knife and demanded money, but the employee managed to escape, so nothing was taken. When they investigated this incident further, the car that was seen at the scene belongs to him. The characteristics of the Toyota Vista Adeo matched, and the pet bottle left at this pachinko parlor was also missing. Because the man's fingerprints were found, the police later determined that he was the one who committed this crime. Also, from the course of this incident, it seemed like there was some kind of good intention. It appears that he was in financial trouble for some reason. At that time, he worked as a tugboat sailor, guiding large ships into the city port, earning about 10 million yen annually. His wife, a pharmacist with over 10 years of experience, also had a high income. It's difficult to understand why he would have financial issues, so it's hard to believe that they were struggling to make ends meet. Police found that over several years, he had repeatedly borrowed and repaid millions of yen from consumer finance firms and banks. No evidence was found of loan shark involvement or arson for insurance money. There have been a series of incidents where a man who runs a tea shop was attacked in front of his house, and he was suspected of being involved. However, with his death, including this case, the curtain has closed on the number of these incidents. Despite ongoing investigations by police and media, the case remained unsolved with no clear revelations. His past comes to light. It turns out that he had been committing heinous crimes. What's more, he had already done these things when he was just an elementary school student, and this case occurred as a result. Beneath the facade of a once happy family, deep, dark secrets were lurking. In 1973, as a third grader, he started a fire at a friend's house, targeting a disabled child. The fire spread rapidly, completely burning down 3 houses, including his friends. The specifics of how it occurred are unknown. 2 years later, in 1975, he committed a robbery and murder. As a 5th grader in elementary school, he broke into an apartment in Hachioji City. He stabbed the victim multiple times with 2 kitchen knives. This incident was reported in detail by the local newspaper, the Daily Tohoku. Locally, this is known as a famous major incident. He lived in the same apartment as the woman. He often came to play at my place, and he was always cheerful and lively. He broke into the woman's apartment through the veranda, intending to steal several 10,000 yen bills he saw on the table. However, when the woman returned home at that moment, he panicked and committed a violent crime. It's quite shocking to think that an elementary school student could do such a thing, but according to detailed local news reports, several clear facts revealed his abnormality. Of the knives used, one was bent inside the woman's body, indicating a force far beyond what you'd expect from a child. This incident left a strong impression of his extraordinary brutality. Afterward, in order to hide his crime, he even threatened people he didn't know. He testified that he was calm. In the juvenile detention center, he wrapped his hands around his own neck and muttered incoherently. It's highly unusual for an elementary school student to commit such a premeditated crime and attempt to conceal it. People find it deeply disturbing and hope it never happens again. Even upon learning of the victim's death, the perpetrator showed no emotion. He appeared more worried about his own future than feeling remorseful. Afterwards, he was sent to a juvenile consultation center and released under the supervision of a third-year middle school student. He got a job at a local waterworks company after graduating from a local high school, and then incidents started occurring in this prefecture. About 20 years ago, he returned to his hometown of Hachinohe, met his wife and got married. Whether his wife and children knew about his past or not is unclear. Inexplicable points still raise suspicions today. This prefecture, however, since both the suspect and the victim have all passed away, the truth behind this tragedy may never be revealed. The incident he caused in his childhood involved a happy family from this prefecture. From the image, it's hard to imagine or even think about such a situation. He returned several million yen in cash, which he had borrowed in connection with the robbery that occurred just before. There are numerous illogical and puzzling aspects to the unsolved 1993 murder case of a female junior high school student in Yatsushiro City, which I previously reported on. It is an exceedingly bizarre case. It is also said that he might have been involved in that case. The reasons are, first, the knife used to harm the junior high school student was different from the other 2 knives found at the scene, and second, the location where the incident occurred was suspiciously close to his family home. However, nothing has been made clear. The incident and the criminal occurred close to us, and even now, he might still be smiling somewhere with an unreadable expression. Thank you for watching this video and for your attention. That's all for now.